Hello everybody and welcome to another video about X4 Foundations. In today's video I'm going to try to explain and list basically all of the things you can do in X4 Foundations. And that sounds like a pretty big video because the game is about basically simulating an entire universe and allowing you to do everything in it. So I'm going to break it down by player types, by typical players that play our game. And this starts with the four main categories that we always have on the top of our box: trade, fight, build and think. But I'm going to extend it with two more categories, which are explore and strategy or strategic gameplay. Of course, no real player is just one type. You are always a mix of all of those things. So even if I am just calling a trader and a fighter and a builder and all of those other categories, you are of course always a mixture, but everybody's a different mixture and you can choose yourself what type of gameplay you prefer. So first topic, individual trading. Individual trading really means you and your own ship trading wares between stations, and that's really like the fundamental activity that you know from other space games too. And for that, all you need is really one ship with container storage, and that's like 90% of the ships in our game have that. The only exception are mining ships and resource collectors, because they have solid or liquid storage, while all the others have container storage. So yeah, basically the ships that you have at the beginning are able to do that. You land, you open the trade menu, buy wares, fly to another station and sell them again. That's individual trading. Next step after that would be creating trade orders. And that's if you have more than just one ship, you can actually send other ships doing trade runs for you. And you do that with orders. The order menu can basically use for everything. We will be coming to strategic possibilities of that later. But of course for trading, this is just trade orders. And it's based on so-called offers. So all the stations in our game make trade offers, and you can just collect them by flying past stations in the universe and assign offers to your ships. Orders get queued. So when you open an info menu for any of your ships, you will see the behavior menu. And in the behavior menu, you have orders and the main behavior. The orders is basically a list of things that the ship does in one after another, and trade orders are very typical things. So if you tell a ship to go to one station, buy something, and then fly to the next station and sell it, these would be two orders in that queue. And you can queue as many as you like. You can also have it mixed with completely different orders like exploration or fight orders, but a typical trade ship would just have these two types in that menu. The map is your first place for finding trade offers, and when you zoom very much in on an individual station, you will see for each station the offers that it has. This is buy offers and sell offers. So when you want to buy something yourself, you are looking for the sell offers of a station. When you want to sell your stuff, you want to look for buy offers of other stations. And when you zoom in on an individual station, you see exactly that. If you then zoom out on the map, you will accumulate more and more offers together. That way you can easily identify the cheapest sell offer and the highest buy offer of a station. So these are the ones that are normally most attractive to you. So as soon as distance is not so important anymore, you can zoom out further and further and see better and better offers usually. The map can be configured with filters, and the most crucial filter for trading is the trade filter. You just click on anywhere in any of those little boxes and it automatically will filter only for this particular ware. So even if in a neighboring station that identical ware might not be among the best ones for buying or selling, it will now be prioritized. And the further you zoom out, the more offers are accumulated again, and always just for this particular filter. There are also other filters, and we come to that later. Now, what ships are you using for trading? There are typically S, M and L ships, which really just says something about their size. Obviously, there are many more criteria by which you can differentiate between the different ships, but size is the most important one, because it specifies where those ships can dock. At the beginning of the game, you usually start with an S ship, and an S ship is okay for trading, but obviously when you want to maximize the amount of money you can make with a ship, you want bigger is always better, and therefore an M ship can pack a lot more wares, and an L ship is the maximum. This is really very large quantities. It's however normal that these larger ships will be more used for remote trading, and the smaller ones are often the ones that you are personally sitting in because they are more maneuverable and easier to fly. Another thing that has a big impact on how good you can steer a ship is how much freight is in the ship. Especially with larger ships, you will find that they behave quite differently when they are full. So the maneuverability changes the more freight is packed in your ship. When talking about the sizes of ships, you also have to see the actual docks that go with them. So here are S docks and M docks, which are usually close to each other, especially on stations. And then there are piers. Piers are at the outside of stations and used for the very big ships, the L and the XL ships. L ships are the ones that you normally see transporting large quantities of wares to stations, and piers are used for L ships. XL ships is the largest category of ships, but they are not used for trading, so they rarely have to dock at normal stations. They would only be manufactured in shipyards and be equipped at shipyards. We talked already about the map and that it allows you to browse through your trade offers, but in order to have these trade offers there, you first have to collect them, and you collect trade offers by just flying through the universe. So in a sense, this is actually part of the exploration side, and we will come to that later. But I already tell you now that, of course, the more trade offers you have seen in your universe, the better for trading, the more variety you have for buying and selling wares. And a trade offer that you added to the map always comes with a duration. So for a couple of hours after you pick up a trade offer, you will see this live information on the map. After that time, you can still trade with that station because you know it's still there, but you don't know the live prices anymore. So when you then send a ship remotely to this station again, you will actually have to call back when the ship is there to make the actual transaction. Whereas if you have the live information, you can make the trade deal already upfront. So as you can see, it's very valuable to have a lot of trade offers and have them for a long duration. That's why the trade computer is a very valuable upgrade to your ship, because it makes it easier to collect trade offers from further away stations. Every ship that flies around for you in the universe will now collect trade offers and also see live information. So it's not just you personally collecting that information, but every remote ship that flies for you will also add to that information. Another way to add information is by placing satellites. Satellites are basically like static ships. They are just giving you live information about their surroundings. So it adds to the fog of war area in the map, but it also adds trade offers. One way for a beginner player to get a lot of information about the universe and be able to trade very profitable is to find the highway ring that is central to our X universe, because this is the most densest area of our universe, and by following the highway ring you can very quickly find a lot of trade stations and get a lot of offers added to your menu. So this is a very easy way to get the core of trading added to your map. Later in the game you want to have trade subscriptions. Trade subscriptions basically means that you don't have any duration for trade offers anymore, but you will have the live information of all the trade stations that are affected by that subscription permanently. And there are different ways to get trade subscriptions. One is to simply buy them once you have a very good reputation with a faction. But the alternative way is an illegal one. This illegal method is by hacking a station. You can hack a station, and we are talking more about that later in the exploration and the pirate area of the game. But it's basically just placing EMP bombs on the outside of stations and scanning the resulting data leaks on a station. And then sometimes you get a trade subscription for not just that station, but sometimes also for many stations. Another thing that you can get with scanning data leaks on stations is discounts. Discounts are, of course, very useful for any trader because it helps you getting cheaper prices on the products you buy and also better prices on the products you sell. So discounts are always very useful, and you get them by scanning for data leaks on stations or using the EMP bomb. That's the illegal way to create signal leaks and then scan them. A subcategory of the trader player is mining. Any trader will probably sooner or later also mine for resources in the game, and our economy is standing on resources which are actually mined in our universe, so this is a very important activity. And of course NPCs do it, and as everything in the game you don't have to do it, but it can be also very profitable to do mining yourself. So the first section is mining yourself, similar to trading yourself. So in that case you will use the scan mode of your ship to identify asteroids with especially good resources on them, and pick up the resulting little rocks in space yourself with your ship and put them into your cargo. In that case, however, you need a special ship that has solid storage. So that's not possible with a ship with container storage, but with a mining ship that has solid storage. Like with trading, you can also do mining with larger ships, and in that case, again, you can make more money because you have more storage. The difference, however, is that a large mining ship also needs drones to pick up the little rocks. So while with a small ship you can actually fly over those rocks or even use your loot magnet, in that case you need drones that pick up the rocks for you and bring them to your ship. All types of mining ships also need a mining laser, either as a turret in the case of the large ships or directly as your primary weapon in a small ship. A mining laser is the best way to cut asteroids into smaller pieces. Again, like with trading, you can also automate mining for you. So once you have a pilot in your ship, you can actually tell him to mine for you. And just like with trading, you give orders and manage. The more you automate an activity, the more advanced behaviors you need for your ship. While the simple order, mining this place, buy wares here and sell them there, is always possible with every pilot, behaviors that completely automate an activity for you are only possible with experienced pilots. So you need pilots with stars in their information screen. To be able to do remote mining efficiently, you also need information about resource areas, asteroid fields, remotely on the map. And to get that, you need resource probes. Resource probes can be manually deployed anywhere in space. They are relatively cheap. You equip them to any of your ships, and once you drop them in an asteroid field that looks promising, the map will later show you exactly which resources you can mine there. And that allows your remote ships, your pilots, to better mine these areas for you. One tip here, if you find Nividium anywhere, it is possibly something to make a quick buck, because Nividium is a very expensive resource and you can make a lot of money by mining it and selling it, but it is rarer, both found and sold, because Nividium is not one of the fundamental resources that the economy stands on. We have ore and silicon for the solid resources that are used anywhere in the economy of the game, and those are the ones that you can permanently mine, while Nividium is rare and only used in some places. In addition to mining, there is also resource collecting, and instead of solid rocks, ore and silicon, in this case you would be collecting liquid or gas resources like helium, for example, and those again are needed at the bottom of your economy or are sold to stations. A little side activity that you can always nicely combine with mining is collecting crystals, because you will find them on asteroids sometimes, and they are very easy to pick up. You just shoot them off of asteroids with a normal laser or with a mining laser, and then pick them up also with your loot magnet by holding down the O key or by flying over them. And these are inventory items, but they can be very valuable. So this is something you do in addition to normal mining. or in the normal exploration gameplay that we will be talking about later. While mining, you will also sometimes find other little drops that come out of asteroids, and they can be also very valuable and profitable to pick up. Another subtype of the trader is the illegal trader, the smuggler, and that's of course also possible in our game. For this, you just have to buy and sell illegal wares, like drugs for example, and you run in additional risk, but also can make a higher profit with trading with these wares. While some proper wares are illegal, there's also inventory items, and I will be talking about inventory items later in the exploration section. But inventory items are the little stuff that you have on your body, whereas wares go in your ship. And just like with illegal wares, you also have a lot of little illegal things that you can find everywhere in space, and as a smuggler you can make extra credits with those illegal things and by picking them up and selling them. To be able to smuggle larger quantities of wares, you might want to establish a black marketeer on a station yourself. Once you do that, you will have the ability to provide the local market with drugs, for example. So this guy that you place on a station will allow you to have an order for these goods on that station permanently, and that allows you to sell illegal goods into the market. This video is part of a series explaining the features of X4 Foundations. There are parts about trade, fight, build, think, explore and strategy gameplay. Choose the next one you are interested in from the Egosoft YouTube channel or the playlist to watch them all in one session.